everyone. Welcome to Connected with Cari here on Jess TV, Jess FM. This beautiful, wonderful. It is so sunny here in Calgary today. It is just great. Not quite super warm yet, but it's going to come up. So, thank you everyone for taking your time out this evening to watch the show. I've got a really super awesome guest with me this evening who has been in the news before. You might have shopped at his shop. You might have probably been there mostly during Halloween time to try on some costumes. There's a little Easter egg there for you. You probably have never met the owner in person. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But this is one store in Calgary that is most famous at Halloween time. However, not just at Halloween time, he's open all year round, and soon you'll get to meet him. First of all, I just want to add in that we are streaming. His mom is going to watch in tonight too. So, hi, mom. I know you're going to be watching us live, which is awesome. So, thank you for being his number one supporter in his life. I really recommend that all moms should tune in when their kids are on a show. So, that's amazing. Yeah. So, with me this evening is Ryan. But Ryan, I'm going to get you to fully introduce yourself because it's not just Ryan.
Sure. I mean, I go by Ryan, or some people call me, or on the Instagram handles, Ryan the Costume Shop Guy. Uh, yeah, as you had mentioned, Gary, thank you for having me. I'm the owner of the Costume Shop here in Calgary, right on the corner of Blackfoot and 42nd. Our business has been around for a really long time. I took ownership of it in 2016. I did so because I was selling to the industry, traveling all across Western Canada and the US, and I wanted to be home for my family. So, stayed relevant to teenage boys by owning a costume shop, and was able to make it to all their hockey games and basketball games. So I kind of had the balance of both worlds. What I didn't anticipate was the craziness that would happen as a business owner with all the crazy things that happen when you own a business, including the weird things like a pandemic that would roll itself in to create some challenges that no one expected.
Oh, I can totally imagine that. Also, those of you who are tuning in on Underground Radio C, hi guys. Um, the crazy thing is, okay, so we've known the costume shop. We know where most of us know where it's at. You know, it's the corner. You drive by it and you're like, oh, the costume shop. What was it before the costume shop? What was was it one original owner before that? Do you know any of the history prior to yourself moving in?
Okay, so in the building itself, or is the costume shop as a company? So there's twofold answers there. So the building I'm in is built for and was built for the Bank of Montreal, and it's still very much a bank building, meaning there are three vaults in this building, two of which we've incorporated into storage and use for the store. One has clearly been locked, and I would love to know the combo and hope there's thousands of dollars in there, but we all know there's not any money in there. That's the bank drop right at the front. So this is an old bank building, and it makes it really interesting when you want to put walls up and or things, because this thing is super enforced. That's the actual bricks and mortar. And it was, so after the Bank of Montreal, there was another couple businesses that came in, and then it became us, the costume shop, who moved here from Inglewood, on Ninth Avenue, kitty quarter to Spalumbo's. We were there before Spalumbo's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. So when did you first start the costume shop in Inglewood then? How long have you been around?
So when I bought the store in 2016, we were
Yeah.
already on Blackfoot.
Okay.
Um, I can't remember what year it actually opened up on 9th, but Margot Loveseth, who I took over from,
Mhm.
fantastic human being, who took over, merged two companies to become one as a single mom, really launched this business. We became good friends. She was a customer,
Yeah.
and it's working. It worked really well for me to take over the business at the time that I did. It's an
Wow.
interesting story how that happened, but here we are. A few
Wow.
years later, I own the shop.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
maybe there's some OGs who've known you since way back when, way back when.
All right.
So what has been, okay, You have said that the reason why you bought the store was basically because you wanted to, stay in town and be close to your family and have them around so you can, be the typical dad and drive them and be close to family and all that.
Right.
Was there, why did you choose to do costumes? What is the, what was the love for, like, I mean, you kind of said the teenage boy kind of back in your opening there, but what other thing, what's the other love for this company that you have?
Well, to be fair, basically the way this worked was as I was a traveling salesman. I had a manufacturer's rep agency called Knacker Agencies, NACR, Need Anything, Call Ryan. And I moved from Montreal to Calgary, or as I affectionately say, Montreal to Canada, in 1998. I moved here for this thread company. It's the last of the manufacturers of thread in Canada. It's called Can Sew, Canadian Sewing Supply. They're actually just 100 years old now. They moved me out here in 98, and I quickly realized that I couldn't just sell thread for a living, and I got into also selling um, Halloween costumes to all the different stores, to all the different towns. Appreciating there's only like one or two stores per town, and all around the prairie, so to speak. You can't really have 10 stores in a place. So it made for a lot of driving. So that's what I did. And I made friends with basically some that are my competitors today that have now become really good contemporaries in business. We work together, and we buy and I often buy and sell to them, and sometimes I buy from my competitors as well. It's a small industry. We're down to across the country. There's only about 40 of us that still like import for the Halloween industry, where we're large enough to bring in our own imports versus just buying from distributors. So there's not many of us left across the country. And here in Calgary, we're even less than everywhere. So the costume shop has been home for me, and now I have both my boys work in the store. So that's they've gone from 13 years old and or 14 years old and 8 years old to much older than that. And now they work in the store. As a matter of fact, they'll be here tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. I'm just trying to, hopefully you can hear me. So that's kind of like one of the neatest things is I think that family is very important and to be able to have them in the industry with you is something very special and very like neat that they can say, yeah, my dad is like the costume guy and we grew up in the store. And so I'm wondering, okay, because it's such a fun shop, like I've even been there myself a couple times,
Right.
do the kids actually work or do they spend most of the time probably trying on costumes? What is the what do they do?
Well, it's funny you should ask because we like to say fun starts at the costume shop or fun begins at the costume shop or the costume shop is where fun is or fun begins. We could play with the word fun all you want. The staff here, all of them, um, the goal is that you have fun at work. I mean, realistically, there's a lot of entertainment factor. I mean, with the different characters that we can have lying around, they can play. You really want to see how much fun they have at work? Take a look at our TikTok and our Instagram. I mean, with 73,000 followers on TikTok, we have a fair share of people watching us make fools of ourselves and really have a good time at work. I mean, it's really a lot of fun to dress up. The flip side is, for me, it's even more fun when somebody comes in and they're very kind of reluctant about what they want to do and how they want to go and what they want to be. And then they leave really excited, and even more so, they come back with the most amazing stories of how much fun they had, how much more entertainment dressing up was for the event that they were going to. And they couldn't believe they were so reluctant to dress up before they went out to begin with. So now we get repeat customers because they had such a good time going to the event they didn't want to go to begin with. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, tell us some of the like totally amazing stories that people have, like you said, they're reluctant to come in. What are some of like the really fun stories that they've had? Just maybe a couple.
Sure. We have like somebody had come in just recently who says, I don't like to dress up, and my wife was making me go to this murder mystery type of thing. And I really didn't want to go, but I had to because my wife said so. So we kind of, it was his character had to be a 70s kind of look, and he left with the Austin Powers thing. Well, he said now he's known as the Austin Powers Man, and he showed up late on purpose, and he played up the character, and he had an absolute ball. He's like, I think I got to do this again this summer. If I can make it to Comic Expo, can I rent Austin Powers again? And it's to be clear, we do both. We have for rent and we have for sale. The rental costumes are a little bit more elevated in quality, and it really comes all encompassing. The for purchase costumes are typically Halloween style costumes that you can augment with whatever other pieces. But when we dressed him up as Austin Powers with the teeth, with the glasses, with the hair, with the suit, um, yeah, he was like, I don't know, and then put it all together, and he got the swagger. He was like, yeah, baby, and he had a really good time.
That is so awesome. I can't believe like I think some people like you said, they kind of need like the warm up and they're really embarrassed because it's just something new, right? Like some kids, I mean, I would say most kids love just to dress up for Halloween, but when they get older, it's like, okay, well, this isn't for me anymore. I'm too old to kind of do this stuff. But when it comes to, the parties, I mean, murder mysteries would be so fun. And just to dress up, and be like that character, you have to dress up to get into character, I think. And I think it's, you know, when push comes to shove, it's kind of fun to get dressed up as long as you're not like bullying your partner into doing something like that. Because, like, some people are really afraid of just being like they're really uncomfortable, which I don't suggest anyone push them to do so. But, if it's really, they, kind of just need a little encouragement because they're maybe just embarrassed, then okay, like go and have some fun with it. Like, you know, just understand the other person's, what they're going through. If they are just like, no, 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 I don't want to do this, and it's serious and it can cause fighting, please don't do it. Just gonna say this should be a fun thing, right? So let's get into a little bit about, because we said Halloween is number one. That's obvious. Like any kids will go, they'll go try out these new costumes. Adults will go. It's kind of an all ages sort of a thing. But when it goes down to it, there are holidays all year round. Like you said, there's, Comic Con, I mean, do people go in for Easter? These are some of the questions. Like, what are some of the crazy kind of holidays that people come in for? Because, I mean, obviously you're there all the time.
Right. So that's probably the biggest question we get, and I get all the time. Costume shop? You're only open for Halloween, right? You're a pop-up store? No, we're not a pop-up store. We're open year round. And if we went right from the beginning of the year, there's technically you can look at this as both the last event of the year or the first of the event of the year. So let's start with New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve, there's many different themed events that happen for New Year's Eve, from masquerade parties to themed decade parties to um, actually just like a superhero even party even for New Year's Eve. So the realm for New Year's Eve is really imagination rules. And then after New Year's Eve, you're right, we roll into St. Patty's Day, we roll into Valentine's Day, probably Valentine's Day, then St. Patty's Day, then we have Easter where we have the Easter bunnies, and then we roll into right now, as a matter of fact, like you mentioned, there's the Comic Con or the Comic Expo, the Calgary Fan Expo that's happening, which is why I have all those Ghostface characters in my office. The whole cast of Scream is coming into town. So there's a lot of people that came in today for costumes and masks so they can get those autographed. And then after that, there's an event called Oda Fest, which is an anime type of event that's held downtown Calgary. We have a booth there as well, like we do at Expo. Um,
Okay, wait. I gotta stop for 1 second. What is Oda Fest? Okay.
Oda Fest. So Oda Fest is a anime or a it's let's just say this. It is my favorite of all trade shows that I've attended in my life, and I love to go back every year. As a matter of fact, I took up a sponsorship for it because I like it so much. And so the question is why? Why do I like this so much? This is really catered to the really, really, really shy person, uh, late, early teen, mid-teen, early 20, really shy characters that really do enjoy anime or comic type characters that really kind of, you know, stay to themselves. When I was a kid, you always had the different groups, and these kids would be always by themselves. Um, And in today's world, they're like in the basement playing their video games or sketch pad drawing stuff. So these kids, it's amazing to me. They will come and kind of barely have a voice and really whisper, trying to get out what it is that they're looking for or what they're trying to create. And then they put on the costume and they come to life. They're completely, oh my God. And this particular event encourages that behavior and it brings all the like kids together. And then they do it in a fashion, first of all, they're not for profit. Second of all, in the fashion that they do it, all the kids come together and they go to all the different rooms and they can chat with each other. They can play games with each other face to face, forces them to kind of come out of their shell, but with their other type of kids that are doing the same thing. So they're equally painfully shy. So when you put them together, they kind of come out chatting with each other because they've got the same pains. Um, and it's a whole weekend event. It starts early in the morning, goes right into the night evening with parties, and it's just amazing until you walk the floor and walk the event. They take up all of the TELUS Convention Center and the Marriott downtown, over Stephen Avenue. It becomes a whole weekend affair. This weekend is actually Mother's Day weekend when it's taking effect. And as a little added extra bonus, as the Costume Shop sponsors every costume competition that they have, that's so that people will create a costume out of foam or wigs or a combination, and they put together a look and they have a competition. We sponsor that and give away prizes. But on top of that, for the Sunday, the Mother's Day, the Costume Shop is also giving away for the first 65 mothers that attend and come to our booth there a tiara. So a Happy Mother's Day tiara for every mother that participates.
I want a tiara.
And
Okay.
dial down to OdaFest. I mean, it sells out really fast, so
That is so
it's really cool.
cool. That is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I won't keep you at OdaFest. We'll keep rolling through the year. So after OdaFest, we've got.
So after OdaFest, there's HorrorCon that pops up. Then there is something that rolls into town that everybody says, "Oh, the costume shop's got to do amazing with." It's a small event that happens in Calgary called the Calgary Stampede. Some people might have heard of that. Believe it or not, locals actually don't need to visit the costume shop for stuff for Stampede because they have gone to and carry their own. Year-round stuff. And we cater to a few tourists that come into town for Calgary Stampede, but then we rolled right into camping season where there's Halloween at the lake and all sorts of different fun barbecues. One of the things that we try and help people do is you having a barbecue at the house or at the lake or somewhere, and we say, hey, why don't you take 10 or 15 wigs, all sorts of different wigs, and make it a wig barbecue, and everybody's wearing a different wig. So they change the look. So if you're normally, got dark hair, and also you can be a blonde with a blonde mullet or a big afro, and everybody just has sort of a really good memory at that regular barbecue, so to speak. So there's barbecue season and party season, and then there's Halloween at the lake that happens typically throughout August. And then there's private company events that happen off sites that we work with. And before we know it, then it's full form from September and October for Halloween. And then right after Halloween, we kind of really do a good solemn reset for Remembrance Day, where everybody sort of takes their step back, and then it's full on ready for Christmas and New Year's Eve. And then buying season and the whole thing starts again.
Okay, so let's get into Christmas because obviously it's the Santa suit or an elf suit. Um, what other ideas of people come in for Christmas events? Because that's one thing I don't think a lot of people really like very creative on that end. I think it's always been like, okay, Santa, elves. Um, I don't know. What's your take on it? Because, like I said, you're the expert.
So really, you're right. I mean, for Christmas, we sell a lot of Santa suits and we rent a lot of Santa suits. Let's talk about who we do that for. And Mrs. Claus, we do that for a lot of the grandparents who then create their own memories with their grandkids, and they start that from infants. all the way up till when they're older, as long as they can be around. And then we're noticing that grandpa, unfortunately, once he passes on or just simply can't do it, their son picks up or son-in-law picks up, and they dress up as Santa. So they'll come back in and get a new wig or a new jacket or something like that. And either their spouse or mom plays Mrs. Claus. And the modus operandi, the purpose for that is really to have the great memories growing up and great family photos. Then there's the school plays where you're going to have Mary and Joseph and all the different characters for the school plays that go on or their church plays. So we help out with those things. Sometimes there's just, talent shows that happen in that season. So then people will get dressed up for that talent show and we'll help them do whatever for that. Honestly, we're here for, clean fun. Everybody, as long as you're respecting one another, you can have a lot of fun dressing up in costume.
Now, this is the interesting question that I want to know is what is the most popular costume that you either that they buy or they rent, and what is like the weirdest costume? Tell me like your spectrum.
Well, if you want to say one specific most popular costume, buy and rent, that same costume would then, of course, be Santa. I sell and rent the most of them. That said, gangster suits, flapper dresses, those are high on the list, and of course, all the superheroes. And you really got to get in here and see what we've created. We've got the new Ken outfit that was from the Oscars, the pink jacket with Ken and all the rhinestones. We've got that here, and we just finished building that. Holly in my store is spectacular, and she built that as well as a few other characters, including Loki. So, really, in terms of popularity, there's that. Weirdest? Well, if you've seen Borat, we have the Mankini. My son Brandon told me, "You've got to bring that in, Dad. We need that costume." And I'm like, "That looks ridiculous. No one's going to wear it." Oh, yeah, people buy it. Thankfully, they don't try it on in the store because that mankini, if you look at it on my website, you'll see why we don't want it. Or if you've seen Borat, you understand why we don't want people trying that on in the store.
Fair enough. That's good. Sometimes try them on at home, or no, you can have dressing rooms there that people can try them on so they can, do it discreetly for sure. Now I wanted to also kind of bring you on because, um, everyone needs to know about the costumes. It's really cool and amazing, but you have a little bit of a deeper story as well that I kind of wanted to share. Some people may remember, some people might not, because this was now a couple years ago. Um, we're going to go into a little bit about the pandemic, and I want you to share your story, what happened, and how you kind of came through it, if you don't mind sharing that with me.
That's an interesting one. The pandemic, like the whole world, we all came to a stop. And realistically, what did anybody need from costumes? Um, but it's interesting. This type of thing is what really took off. All the Zoom meetings really took off. So um, there's really no reason why the costume shop survived the pandemic. It was really my staff that rallied behind me, my family, my mother who's watching, and my wife and my kids and everybody else really stayed behind me. And I just kept pivoting and kept coming up with different things. We came up with really fun face masks. So Holly, who creates all the rental costumes, also started building feverishly face masks that would fit right under the nose and all the different characters. We had fun with that. We also focused on from here up. So we did a lot of wigs and we did a lot of eye contacts. We represent Primal contact lenses. We're one of the largest, one of their top 5 across the entire country as an independent store selling contact lenses. That helped us get through, but boy was it challenging. Every single day was a different thing. From you can't have more than 25 people in your 10,000 square foot building. We're like, what? 25 people? I mean, I had 22 staff. That was October, because you wanted to really help people from a distance, but everything was so bizarre. Nobody knew where they were standing, and I think I described it many times. It was like standing on quicksand. It was just the ground kept shifting as you were saying it. They came up with a rule in the morning. It was different by noon. It changed again by dinner, and I'm proud to say, I lost a lot of hair during it, but I'm proud to say we're on the other side. and we're here to now back and enjoy life forward. And through the pandemic, we just tried to find ways to make it so that people can have some fun on what became mundane Zoom meetings, because that was the only way you can interact with people.
So when you did your Zoom meetings from the shop or maybe from home, were you wanting to throw like a different mask on for each little meeting? Like, was it really fun? What did you have fun with during that time?
Well, we did seeing things like this. We threw on hats. We would throw on the different makeups, and if you kind of got ready and you said, maybe we're gonna be somebody's gonna enforce something that's going on. We can throw on the voices. We can play around. We can. We really had a good time with CFIB. I sent them out all Christmas hats and all sorts of different things that they can wear as a headband and different ears that I would put on. I wasn't prepared, so I don't have some of those things to throw on real fast. I didn't take full face masks because that makes it hard to hear everybody. But like the hats were fun because you can play around with them. You throw on a gangster hat and it would be kind of like, you know, if we only had the power of being part of the mob, and you're gonna listen to what we tell you, or you're gonna have trouble with your kneecaps. If we were able to do that, it got people to smile.
You got me smiling. Take out my kneecaps. Oh my goodness. So when you're in the store every single day, just day to day, do you dress up every day or just put on a hat? What's your favorite, or do you have like a favorite costume that you might wear during the year when you're working?
Well, I joke around. This is scary enough, but I tend to wear the costume shop shirt for the most part because I want everybody to remember this is where we're at. My staff are much better at dressing up. The character of choice for me to put on would be Superman. That was the character I saw on the Betamax way back when. Christopher Reeve got me into, oh my gosh, a man could fly. I remember watching that with my late brother, and I really, really have some really good memories watching that with my aunt and uncles and stuff. So Superman was always the character, and I have these cool sort of like t-shirt style costumes, which is a t-shirt with a cape that removes for Superman, and then Batman with a cape that removes and a mask. These characters are great. My brother liked Batman. Superman is the character I tend to gravitate to. And if the camera could spin, you could see all the Superman paraphernalia I have. Actually, there he's kind of behind there too. Um, to me, it's just about having a good time. And if you went onto my YouTube or Instagram or even TikTok, you'll see I dress up in everything from Snow White to a gangster to Superman himself. Anything just to have a good time and a good laugh.
What are your kids' favorite costumes as well?
That's a good question. My older son likes to dress up in a bunch of different things. I mean, he's done Kylo Ren. He made his own kind of take on the mask. My older one, my younger one, he's a hockey boy, so he's happy enough to put on a hockey jersey and get out. But he's dressed up as a SWAT officer a few times, and he's more of the quieter one that likes to help others get dressed up, which is okay. Everybody gets to do whatever it is they want to do.
That's so cute. Okay. Going into, so we covered the pandemic, we did all like, what people dress up during the year. Let's go into, because you did mention some partnerships. Was that all the partnerships, or do you have any other charities that you're involved with?
Okay, so when I talk about partnerships, to me that's the raison d'être. We're Calgary's costume shop. We're Canada's costume shop, and so I work with all the different schools. And what that means, what does that mean? Working with a school? That means with a teacher that says, listen, I've got 10 kids. We're putting on a play. My budget's $1,000, and I need everything, right? And then I've got $1,000, and I got 20 kids, and I need to get it going. And we try and make it so that the play goes on, and we don't work with, okay, you've rented it, you only get it for the 1 week. Of course, we we make it so that the school can have it for a lot longer. The same goes for the church, and that sort of thing, and then all the different charities. We work with a lot of the themed events that then flow into charities for fundraisers. We've come up with different creative ways to help them raise some money. We dress a lot of the MCs, a lot of the radio MCs, the TV MCs, anchors. You'll see them host whatever event, and we'll dress them up in to the nines to make sure that they look spectacular at whatever event. There's a trend right now for these fundraisers to be themed events, so that they make them more fun because it's more interactive. So you have like a speakeasy night to raise money, and often it's for the one that we tend to really work with is the Children's Hospital or cancer research. That go kind of hand in hand, or children's cancer. And from the cold, we've helped out. Um, Different places have come to us for different help at different times. And then other partnerships we work with, like, for example, something really fun. This is enlightening. The town of Drumheller and Tourism Drumheller is hosting next week. They're trying to break the world record for the most humans dressed up as a dinosaur collected in one area. So Drumheller is on next Saturday at 9 a.m. The official count happens at 11. They start at 10. They want everybody dressed up in dinosaurs. So we're doing a lot of inflatable dinosaurs. We don't have many left at this point, but what we have is ready to go. And those will show up. So that's a fun event, and that's just so that they could break the world record. And that's just a fun thing to do. Could you imagine all those dinosaurs coming to life in Drumheller, the home of the dinosaur in Alberta / Canada / the world? It's kind of cool.
It
Um,
is cool. I think dinosaurs are always like, it's not even like a comeback thing. It's like everyone loves dinosaurs, whether you're small or big. It's just one of those things. Sorry, please keep going. And then I've got a couple questions from our audience.
all right, fair enough. So the Drumheller event, they were in today. Tourism was in today, and they were telling me people are flying in from everywhere. They're flying in from the center of the universe, aka Toronto, from Vegas, from all parts of the U.S. And I understand there's 10 buses coming in, 5 from Calgary, 5 from Edmonton going. It's going to be a wild event, from inflatable dinosaurs to onesie dinosaurs. As long as you're dressed up as a dinosaur from head to toe, you can participate in that. And then I'll participate with all other types of partnerships. Like I'll work with a company who's like wants to do brainstorming events, and maybe they'll put on all the mafia hats, all the fedora hats, and say, if we tried to fix this problem as somebody who could just be an enforcer, how would we do it? Or maybe a bunch of clown wigs. If we wanted to joke around and there was no rules, how could we figure this problem out? It's sort of like brain, to open the brain and let it go, and try and solve a problem uniquely. So partnering with different companies. One that came up this weekend is hockey teams. We do a fair bit of teaming up with hockey teams. They want to do fundraisers. The whole team likes to dress up. And the imagination is the limitation.
That is so cool. Okay, so I think like hockey teams, one of the things that I like when you say team is and it's probably not too costume shoppy, but when you have the big round plastic balls and everybody's like bouncing off of each other, I think like if you could dress up as some weird character inside a ball would just be absolutely hilarious. Okay, so we have BLS Media and Design. They were asking about what was your absolute favorite costume. I know you kind of touched up on like Batman and Superman, but like, is it kind of Superman like the ultimate favorite costume?
Realistically, Superman is the character I go to. But I think it was last year at GameCon, my staff dressed me up in our rentable Master Chief, and I have to tell you, that felt really cool. That was really an awesome thing to walk around in. Nobody can see my face, and nobody knew who I was. And boy, I got a lot of attention as Master Chief. So BLS, yes, Master Chief was probably one of the most fun characters I got to dress up in.
That would be awesome. Okay. And then, so Seth Lucas was asking, what's your favorite item that's in the costume shop?
That's a good one. I'd have to say some of the few new items that have come in. It's hard to pick just one. We got articulating hands. I don't have them to show you here, but if you put articulating hands into our website search bar, that'll come up. I also have EL wire that I just brought in. That's a wire that actually will light up in a straight light or blink slowly or blink quickly. And you can add that into any of the masks or costumes that are available. So those are kind of cool to change things up. Otherwise, it's always fun to play with the stuff hanging on the wall, for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so behind you, we see some other characters floating around in there. Is there a specific reason why you chose those ones?
Well, they were big heads. How's that? I mean, iconic, the Pink Panther, right? So,
The Pink Panther. Because my favorite is pink. Maybe that's why.
all right, sure. That's exactly it. I chose pink for Carrie so she can have the Pink Panther. Next are our favorite plumber, Mario. I brought in some of the masks just because we were talking about Expo and the whole cast of Scream is going to be there. And so we brought in all the different styles of masks, or a good hunk of them. And then, I thought this guy, he's pretty recognizable. He looks pretty happy now without his can. But, the Grouch, and I gave him a fedora.
That's good. Okay, getting into really kind of like the last question here is, oh, actually, a couple more questions here. One person would love to know, okay, how about online shopping? Now, I know, during the pandemic, this might have been one thing that you guys had to do was do the online shopping. So is it like, can I go there and just go through, the menu and be like, okay, I want an Oscar the Grouch costume, or I want this, or I want that? Like, do you have different sizes? How does that kind of work? Is there maybe only specific items that are online shopping? What do we do for that situation?
Those are a lot of questions. So you brought up really good memories. So let's just start with the online as it works. The costumeshoppe.com. So it's the costume and shop, SHOPPE.com, and has a giant search bar, and you can type in anything you're looking for there or just click through. And that's everything we have for sale. Whatever's in stock online is in stock in store. So that's pretty exciting. And you could then choose to ship. We ship worldwide. We just took an order to Switzerland this week. And we ship all across Canada, and same day within Calgary. If you place your order, I think it's before noon or before 11 o'clock, we can actually get it out and delivered in the same day, which brings a great memory for my older son and even my younger son and I. We during the pandemic would actually get in the car and drive and delivered all the orders. And one of the fondest memories I had, actually, that one, I had no one else in the car, just me, and my wife couldn't believe I'm driving forever to the north to deliver a $9.99 Harry Potter wand. And I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this either. It's a 45-minute drive all the way to the other end of town. And I delivered it, and as I put it in the mailbox and I texted, "It's here," I heard the window was open and the young child was screaming, it's here, the costume shop guy's here." And he was so excited for his wand. I watched them grab it from the car, and it's probably one of the best memories I had, and it made it all worthwhile to deliver a $9.99 wand. But there were some great memories during the pandemic, and then that brought it up. Both my boys came for me some late nights delivering orders.
Oh, that is so sweet. I just, when you make someone's day, that's like the best, right? And it's almost like a
That was
secret
awesome.
surprise, and you just go and drop it off, and they're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, right? You just make their day. Have
Yeah.
you, okay, so you talk about the costume shop. Do you have, you're saying it's across the world now, or across Canada, correct?
Right.
So is there just the one store? Do you have other stores located across Canada? How does that work?
Well, we're the one store. Um, we ship everything out of here. It's our one store. It's our one warehouse. It's everything's under basically one roof. I do have some off-site warehouses, but they just keep feeding. So as inventory dwindles here, I bring more inventory back into the building, and then we ship worldwide. I mean, with today, the way things can go, like I said, we can ship same day or early enough in the day. We ship UPS, FedEx, Purolator. It all goes out, and like I said, we got an order last week to just last week to Switzerland. We had many to Ontario and Quebec. Maritimes goes a fair bit, Northwest Territories. I mean, really everywhere in Canada we ship. We ship to the U.S. a surprising amount. I figure that's attributed to the TikTok followers, and I'd say probably the people from Switzerland and France. We sell a lot to France. We sell a fair bit of Deep Space Nine. They must have a big following of Deep Space Nine, because we're the last place I think on planet Earth that has Deep Space Nine costumes.
That's hilarious. Okay, what's the biggest thing you've shipped? Like biggest costume?
Huh, that's a good question. I think we must have shipped at one point or another. We must have shipped a Supreme Edition Darth Vader or Stormtrooper, which don't exist anymore, other than in my rental. Not Stormtrooper, but Darth Vader. Otherwise, I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. I have sent some big cartons out to come back from my rental department. That's not online. You can't see anything I have really for rental online. We're trying to figure out the best way to do that, because those are all one of a kinds. But I have to say we must have shipped something like that. The most awkward thing to ship, of course, is swords or witch brooms.
Okay, so getting into shipping things and crazy things and weird shaped things. So back again with the pandemic, there was all the customs. So Benita Lee on LinkedIn, we both know her. She's one of our good friends. She was asking if that did get resolved, and hopefully everything was going good on that end.
What she's referring to is a case where the Canadian Border Services decided to do an audit, which I fully support. They should be doing audits of every company bringing things into Canada, make sure that they're all following the rules. And we are following the rules. I want to make that very clear. We are, we were, and we always will. And we intended to be fully cooperative in the audit, which we are and were. The strange thing that happened was the person auditing decided in their wisdom that, as a matter of fact, Ghostface, Scream, this guy right here in a different color, isn't a costume. They said that was clothing, the whole look of it. And one of many different items. They said
Uh, so now it's pretty much resolved. Oh, still not resolved.
oh no, this is still going to keep going. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm in a better mood now, but I guess if you'd asked my mother, she would have. She's heard a big chunk of it. My friends and my family know very well this has not been a fun ride. Dealing with the CBSA has not been a cakewalk. It's not a pleasure, and frankly, their system is broken. It doesn't make sense. I mean, that's clearly a costume. I shouldn't have to spend so much time defending what is a costume, what's not. It is what it is. I understand we're probably pressured for time. So if anybody has questions, I would encourage them to reach out directly. You can reach me at Ryan at thecostumeshop.com. You could reach out on any of the social media platforms, or actually give us a call at the store.
There you go. And that's another thing when it comes to these things. I feel like, you need to just invite them to the store and be like, okay, this is a costume, this is this, or, even be writing on the customs box, like, okay, Scream costume, there's a mask, there's a lot of cloth involved. Maybe that's what it was the fact that, with Scream costumes, it's the whole black cloth, and then you got the whole cloth. It's like the ghost, the typical ghost costume. Go to your mother's linen closet and you grab a sheet and you're just putting it on. But, you know, there is the whole mask with it. And then, of course, your accessories for the costume. So sometimes these things, they're a little petty, but, we do what we can to make sure that we are following the laws and we're doing the best we can for packaging and shipping correctly. But that is what it is. So if one of you guys are listening, go to his shop and go check it out, because I guarantee you they're just costumes. So yes, we are going to wrap up now. Again, Ryan, if you want to, I know you kind of said there's a few links there, but where else can everyone find you, and what are your socials? If you guys can go and like his page. And again, if you have any questions, you can contact him as well.
So it's pretty simple. It's the Costume Shopper. the Costume Shop, and that's how you can find us. That's on all socials, on TikTok, on Instagram, Facebook. You can also reach out to our website, which is thecostumeshop.com, and you can call us on the phone at 403-571-2466. We're pretty easily found, and if you're in the city, feel free to stop in at any time. If I'm here, feel free to say hello. Often you'll see me through the window of my office. It looks like I'm talking to myself, but I could be having one of these. So not really talking to myself. At least we hope there's lots of watchers.
You never know, right? Could be
All right.
hiding in your office in some costume and surprise. You never know. Thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on. I appreciate all your time and your energy and everything that you do for the city and everything you do for each Calgarian and across the world, really, ideally. Like you're keeping us all, entertained and just the wonderful costumes you have. Thank you so very much for your hilarity and your personality and just who you are. We all appreciate you so very much.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to reach out and have me on, and I'm glad to show some good humor.
Yeah.
As I am human, I don't always have this smile on my face, but I do my very best, at least in public, to have it, or even if somebody's looking into my office. But I really do appreciate everybody's support, the business, customers, and the stories that people have. So feel free to check us out here at the Costume Shop, and if you have some ideas, reach out.
Absolutely. Thank you again so very much, Ryan. Please tell your wife and your kids thank you for giving your time over to me this evening and give them some hugs and just thank you so very much.